I think the first girl I ever felt anything for was Priyanka Chopra. Early on, people never took YouTubers seriously. He literally told me, okay, come out of your hotel, start running here and get your photographer to click photos of you.
Quarantine 2020.
Hey bro, don't you run a fitness channel? How are you having beer? Do you want a beer belly?
Use this phase for growth and not fear.
मेरी मम्मी की कसम खा के कहता हूँ, I'm not promoting alcohol. I am promoting fun though.
There's a coffee, sort of a game that I have on the show.
Sure.
It's called Take a Sip. Okay? So it's my version of Never Have I Ever. If you have done it, you will take a sip and tell me. So let's begin. Take a sip. If even once you have loved TikTok over YouTube.
No.
You have to be truthful.
For sure. Yeah, okay. I am true. Like, the thing is, okay, when I'm consuming content as a consumer, I need heaviness, I need intellectual content, I need, depth, and 1 minute just doesn't provide that kind of depth.
Okay, all right. Take a sip. If your first celebrity crush was questionable.
It was Priyanka Chopra. Like, from the first day I saw her, from the first day I felt anything for girls, I think the first girl I ever felt anything for was Priyanka Chopra. I don't think she's questionable. I think
at all.
Yeah,
okay.
Like she was perfect.
Okay. Take a sip. If you've gotten into a serious argument on the comments that you receive, on your video, and you've actually responded, and there's a backlash or whatever.
Wow, for sure.
Thank God you took the first sip. I was like, okay, Ranveer is the only person who's not taking any sips on my chat show. Okay.
You can ask me even controversial things. That's okay. I'm open to talking about controversies.
Yeah, so it's actually the Ranveer show on Coffee Time with Griha. So it'll be a mix of everything.
Sounds good.
Okay. Take a sip. If you have been scammed on a brand deal.
Oh, so many times.
My
Initially.
God. Okay.
When you're a smaller influencer, when you're younger, there's so many people who take advantage of you. You got to be very careful. I once went to Chandigarh for this one brand association. I was the face of a marathon, and the kind of stuff that happened there, he wasn't ready to pay us. He literally told me, okay, come out of your hotel, start running here and get your photographer to click photos of you. I want to put it on my social media. Like, we've had stuff like there's a lot of unprofessional situations that happen because early on, people never took YouTubers seriously. They thought we were just kids with cameras. So we were always spoken to like that. Which I got to interrupt your game for like a second here. And I got to tell the 1,400 people to go and follow Griha after this. I feel like Griha's, like I've followed Griha's work prior to like social media. So all of you, please go follow Griha. I do think that Griha's one of those people who's going to create one of the deepest impacts over the next few years. She's doing this whole social media switch. So if you ever consider yourself a follower of the Ranveer show or Beerbiceps, of the 1,400, at least 1,300 should go on to Griha's account and follow after this.
You are really sweet, Ranveer. Thank you so much for saying that. Okay. Take a sip if you have gotten tired smiling while shooting one of your videos.
Yeah. Especially when you can't, sometimes you can't stop laughing, if you've fumbled a little bit. I don't know, has that happened to you as an anchor of sorts? Like you can't stop laughing when you're doing a piece?
So there was a time when I was with Times Now, I used to cover films, more majorly films. With India Today, it was more or less hard news. That's the way we put it. So it's actually, sort of an entertainment, sort of a journalist, because you're always supposed to be presenting things which are the lighter stuff. So you're supposed to be smiling, and it's very painful sometimes. Take a sip. If you find YouTubers cooler than TikTokers. You finish your entire drink, I know that.
Yeah.
I know you've spoken about it. No, I know you've spoken about it. I know it has been done to death. But what is this constant, creator versus created? Because I have seen you guys collaborate on a lot of things. You collaborate with other YouTubers. And, but I don't understand this backlash on one platform, pulling the other platform down. Ye mujhe kuch samajh nahi aa raha. Maybe because I'm newer to the scene, so I really don't understand that much. How serious is it?
I think if you start understanding it, please explain it to me. So, but no, it began as a creator versus creator thing. It became platform versus platform. Honestly, I'm the second gen of YouTubers. And the first gen of YouTubers was a bunch of the stand-up comics. So, the people who started out early. And there was this slight class divide because it was like those stand-up comics were primarily from tier 1 cities. So it became an urban versus tier 2 thing.
Okay.
Second generation is mainly tier 2. At least the content is catered towards tier 2. And I feel that TikTok is tier 3. So there is this tier 1 and 2 versus tier 3 thing going on. That's my reading of it, where there it is definitely, what's the word? Classist? Is that the word? There is this whole thing that, oh, look at us, we are upper class. And that's honestly the dark truth of it. I do feel that there is a future for both TikTokers and YouTubers in the country. There's just that many Indians out there. And you just got to focus on your own game. Stop like spreading fights or any kind of hate or anything.
But when you do use TikTok, what is it that you want to do in that 1 minute of your video? When you actually decide to go to that, or you were trying to just reach out to those people who are in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, sort of, who are not actually YouTube watchers, but would definitely go to a TikTok and watch it?
The way I look at this whole game is that you are building a brand and you are independent of platforms. You yourself should be the biggest platform. So there's something called distribution channels. For example, Facebook used to be called a distribution channel because most people were using Facebook. So the only reason people would run Facebook pages was so that one of the pieces goes viral. People discover that, okay, XYZ person exists. And then those people who discover Mr. XYZ or Miss XYZ, then go to their YouTube and subscribe, go to their Instagram and follow. TikTok, for a lot of people now, is just a distribution channel. You explain that, listen, I exist. Even the biggest TikTok in the country is this guy called Mr. Faizu. He uses it as a distribution channel, makes his money primarily off Instagram and the products that he's creating. So TikTok is purely a distribution channel. You can't create any depth with your audiences there because how much can you explain in a minute? But people will know that there's a person like you who exists on the internet, and your real money and your clout is to be gained on Instagram and YouTube.
I was talking about the responsibility of an influencer, and I would just, because we were talking about TikTok also, there was a huge controversy just a while back where this TikToker, put out a video, and it was actually, glorifying something as serious as an acid attack. So things like these are also, and that guy has a lot of following. So how do you think that licensing, the talk that started about licensing of products and all, and that debate started and it died down, without any sort of traction. Do you think that should be there on social media, so to speak?
I think just the number of TikTok users and the number of TikTok creators is so big that even the TikTok internal team might have had trouble kind of, just watching over all the content that's going up on that platform.
Yeah.
So I do think that going forward, they're going to have a better structure in place. They'll probably hire some people to just scan more of what's happening in that TikTok world. Any kind of content that glorifies, promotes, or even, touches upon concepts like acid attacks or like what we just spoke about, the whole situation that happened yesterday. If someone tries glorifying things like that, it's wrong. Indian audiences are intelligent. It will get picked up and we will see a cleaner world going forward. I just hope that the TikTok internal team manages to kind of put a stop to things like this.
Okay, before I end this interview, what are you doing to keep your mental health in perfect condition, especially in the lockdown? If I have to just ask you, like your channel says, 5 hacks to, look charming. So you always do that. But what is it that you have to take care, especially in the lockdown, so that your mental health is in the perfect shape?
Firstly, I try keeping myself busy. I feel that when you have purpose, it could be anything. It could even be like something as simple as reading. Like add something to your mind, or create something. That's always like the easiest mental fitness hack. Secondly, talk to positive people like Griha. But generally your circle should be positive. You know how they talk about red flags in relationships? I feel like red flags apply to friendships as well. So just select your people very carefully. At this stage of my life, I try keeping my circle small because honestly, there's a lot of creative pressure on me in terms of writing and creating YouTube videos. And every time I talk to people, a bit of that energy goes away. It could be anyone. So I try keeping my immediate circle really small. I talk to very few people. Third, I would definitely say get into a habit of meditating daily. You'll only understand the impact and the power of meditation after experiencing it daily for a month or two. You'll see what it does to your mindset, to the way you perceive the world. Fourth, obviously physical exercise. I've got to talk about physical fitness.
Yes.
Again, it's a purely biological thing. You will release those feel-good hormones, those endorphins. And the fifth is that, again, if you are feeling any kind of heaviness, any kind of, and it could even be like the smallest trauma, the smallest negative thought, get into a habit of voicing it. Don't just bury it inside you because that festers. So
Okay.
I just feel that you should like be open about sharing. If there's a 100 kg dumbbell, pick it up with 5 of your friends. Don't pick it up alone.
Okay. So one final thing, which is my personal question, is being vegan practical for a person who consumes milk and, obviously non-vegetarian? Do you think it's practical for people who have that lifestyle?
Being vegetarian is extremely practical. Extremely practical. Vegan is a little bit intense, especially for our country. Honestly, milk isn't as bad as the West believes it is. The West, the kind of milk they drink there is really messed up. Like it's full of antibiotics and all that. Milk has been an extremely big part of Indian culture and Ayurveda. Like if you actually get into the studies of it, there's a friend of mine called Vivek Mittal, FitTuber. He's done detailed videos on how to consume milk. So it's when you consume milk in the wrong ways, when you mix it with certain foods, like if you mix it with any kind of salt, if you have anything that contains salt an hour around the time you've had milk, that can actually cause the lactose intolerance problems that we speak of.
Okay.
But and so if anyone you're watching this wants to learn about that, go watch FitTubers videos on milk.
Okay.
Speaking about meat, I've been like a meat eater all my life. From like the first thing I ever like the first food memory I have is probably tandoori chicken or something. I'm from a Punjabi family where everyone at home still eats meat. I stopped eating it for the sake of my yoga and meditations to go into deeper meditations and all. That's another conversation. But what I saw is that it definitely helped me in multiple places. And again, it's one of those things you only understand after experiencing it yourself. Also, it's very good for the planet in terms of if you actually dive deep into what it takes to raise chicken, to raise cattle, to raise goats. It does put a load on the environment. So while we're talking about global warming and things like that, it is important to also talk about if you don't want to give up non-veg, that's fine. But reducing the amount of non-veg you eat is important for the planet. I will be making a lot of videos about this going forward.
Okay. So
Yeah.
one final question: black coffee or coffee with milk?
Always black coffee. I'm a very big sucker for black coffee. As much as I love milk products, there's nothing like once you get into black coffee, you can't stop.
All
So it's
right,
always-
all right, Ranveer. That was really lovely talking to you. It's been a very,
Likewise.
very good session, and I got to learn a lot of things from you. Thank you so much
Oh, really?
for being a part of this. Yes,
Okay,
I
I'm-
did.
Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm always a little bit intimidated when talking to people like yourself, but in a positive way, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
The intimidation is from a place of respect, but cool. I'm glad that this one was enjoyable
Well
for you.
said.